In today's class, we will be discussing ratio and proportion. Let's begin with ratio. Ratio is an expression in which two or more quantities are compared. Okay, we can express two quantities as both ratio and fraction. So, if for instance we have a ratio of 3 is to 4, this can also be written as 3/4. So ratio is a different way of writing fraction, and most of the things we do to fractions can also be done to ratio. For instance, if you have a ratio or if you have a fraction of 5/15, remember that this fraction can be reduced to its simplest term by dividing the numerator and denominator by a common factor. In this case, the common factor is 5. So 5 can be divided by 5 to give us 1. 5 can divide 15 to give us 3. So this fraction 5/15 can be reduced to 1/3. The same way, if we had a ratio of 5:15, then this ratio 5:15 could have been reduced to 1:3, just like we had 1/3 when it was written as a fraction. Okay, so note that anytime you have a ratio, make sure that the ratios are in their simplest forms. Okay, so let's take some examples on ratio. In our first example, we have that a girl is 15 years old while her brother is 18 years old. What is the ratio of the girl's age to that of her brother? So in the question, we have the ratio of girl to the brother. That's what the question is asking. So from the question, the girl's age is 15 and her brother's age is 18. So girl 15, the girl is the first, and the brother is 18. So the ratio is 15:18. Okay, however, the numbers are not in their simplest form. So all we need to do right now is to look for a common number that can divide both 15 and 18. In this case, 3 is that number. So if 3 divides 15, we have 5, and if 3 divides 18, we have 6. So this ratio 15:18 has been reduced to 5:6. And as you can see, there is no number that can divide 5 and 6 at the same time. So 5:6 is in its simplest time. So which means the answer to that question, girl's age to brother's age, is 5:6. In the next example, we have in a school of 200 pupils, there were 80 girls. Find the ratio of the number of girls to boys. Find the ratio of the number of girls to boys. So let's take example 2. Okay, so the number of students in the school number of pupils from the question, we have 200. Okay, and we said from the question there are 80 girls. Number of girls is 80. So of course, there can only be girls and boys. So if there are a total of 200 pupils and then there are 80 girls, it means that if we take away that 80 from 200, what is left will be the number of boys. So 200 minus 80. Okay, can you do this? 200 minus 80 gives us 120. So which means the number of boys in the school is 120. Now the question says, what is the ratio of the number of girls to boys. So girls is to boys. From the numbers we have here, number for girls is 80, number for girls is 80, and then number for boys is 120. Just like we said, reduce the fraction to its simplest terms. Reduce the fraction to its simplest terms. What number can divide 80 and 120 at the same time? Okay, there are a lot of numbers that can do this. But we know since here is 80 and here is 10, just take note that 0 can cancel out this 0. Okay, so we are left with 8 is to 12. 8 is to 12. All right, so this is simpler to deal with. What number can divide 8 and 12 at the same time? 4 can divide. If 4 divides 8, we have 2. If 4 divides 12, we have 3. So this ratio can now be reduced to 2 is to 3. Okay. If you do not want to cancel out the two zeros, you can look for a number that can divide 80 and 120 at the same time, which is 40. If 80 is divided by 40, you have 2. And if 120 is divided by 40, you will also have 3.